Support for Steppin Out comes in part from the Kristovich family in honor of Mary Lou and Bill Kristovich. This program is sponsored in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support the arts and culture in the greater New Orleans area.
Peggy Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, with updates from the local restaurant, arts, and entertainment scenes. Joining me, Poppy Tooker, host of Louisiana Eats on WWNO Radio. Hey, Miss Poppy. Hello.
Hi, Peggy.
Hey there. Ian McNulty, food writer for the Times Picayune, New Orleans Advocate. Hey, Mr. Ian. Hi. Hello. Alfred Richard, movie critic for WWL-TV. Hello, Alfred.
Hello there, Peggy.
And Alan Smason of TheaterCriticism.com and the Crescent City Jewish News. Hello, Hello, Mr. Allen.
Hey.
And Poppy, even with current challenges, many local restaurants are offering some real deals on meals.
Oh, Peggy, it's our favorite time of year. It's time for Coolinary. And believe it or not, this year, Coolinary is still going to press on. And of course, what we're talking about are these bargains. There's 2- and 3-course lunches for $20 or less, 3-course dinners and brunches for $39 or less. And let's talk the numbers. The numbers are down because of the COVID crisis and the number of restaurants still open, but there's 7 brunch menus, 53 dinner choices, 32 lunch menus. So there's still a lot going on, and there's new takeout available. You know, previously they just wanted you to dine in the restaurant. Now they're happy for you to take it out. There's 34 of those restaurants participating, and 9 will deliver. But Peg, I've got some big scoop for you. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. Brightston's restaurant reopened yesterday.
Yay.
For a newly reimagined and redesigned restaurant designed for takeout only. I talked to Frank. He said this is going to be Tuesday through Saturday. The menu's posted in the morning. You can place your orders between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m., and there are assigned pickup times in half-hour intervals to control the crowd. There's a limited number of dinners that'll be served, so order early. You're going to find classics like his butternut shrimp bisque and the pecan pie, and new contributions from some of his staff, like Chef Elliot's chicken tacos and Chef Larry's lasagna and Chef Emily's Thai vegetable curry. Oh, how happy it is to have Frank's food back, and he's planning on keeping this up probably until the end of the year.
That's great news. Thank you, Poppy. And over to Ian. Ian, for those of us who are still staying pretty close to home, Commander's has a very bright idea.
Yeah, that's right, Peggy. This is a story that's been developing really for months. Commander's Palace started their virtual wine and cheese parties very early on in this crisis. And here we are 4 months later, and they're still going strong. Well, that's not by design. That's a sign of just how long this crisis has endured for restaurants, which also shows that restaurants are going to have to get very creative in order to survive or to continue any semblance of business as the crisis lengthens and the conditions still remain really dire for them economically. So the gist of this is, we've all been we're on Zoom right now. We've all been on these Zoom meetings. A lot of restaurants have done these wine and cheese pairings, or bring out a chef for a class that brought to your home. The difference with these Commander's Palace wine and cheese events is they are truly parties. Commander's crew, they put on a show led by Dan Davis, the sommelier, and it unfolds much like a variety show. He's your host. He has special guests. He has cameo appearances. There's a roving reporter who pops in on people's living rooms. They keep it different week to week, and it's really drawn a following. It's not the kind of thing that you necessarily just do once to break up the routine of staying at home during coronavirus. It really does have a following with people who do it week to week. And the key, of course, is this great wine and cheese that they procure through local suppliers, St. James Cheese and Lorette Selections. The wine comes through Commanders from all over the world, and the great part is you often get to hear from the winemakers themselves all over the world.
That's amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
South Africa and New Zealand, who are only too happy to join this call because they know they're tapping into the Commander's Palace audience with hundreds of people who are taking part in it. So it's really something that's been a bright light for the restaurant, I know, for their business, but also to connect Commander's Palace back to something of its old self. You know, they get to host people again in a way that they can do right now with their dining rooms closed. I know it's a big boost for the people who put it on, and as someone who's watched it pretty regularly and taken part in it pretty regularly, it's a boost too. It truly is one of these social distance social events. It feels good. It feels innovative. It feels very Commander's Palace.
Absolutely. And the other nice thing is, depending upon, I guess, the ticket option you buy, it gets delivered to you. That's a deal.
If you're in Orleans Parish, they will deliver it to your door, included in the price. We're talking about 3 bottles of wine, 2 nice big pieces of cheese, a pound of cheese total. People add on from there sometimes if they have the neighbors over or whatever. But it is a good deal when you consider the quality of the wines, the quality of the cheeses, and also the interactive education that you get out of it with access to Chef Tori McPhail, to Dan Davis, the sommelier, to the winemakers themselves, to the cheese makers themselves. It's really a pretty innovative package. It's quite unlike anything I've seen other restaurants do. And here we are entering week 16 of these things, and they're still going strong. They're developing it. It's a lot of fun. You can get information at commanderspalace.com on details for the event.
All right. Thank you so much. And moving over to Alfred, some bad news on the local movie theater front.
Yes, indeed. And just a quick note, I'm so glad to hear that news about Frank Brightson and T and Lally over at Commander's Palace. As for the theaters right now, there's going to be a little bit of a dark side here, and that's not just a mask that I'll show later. First of all, we're talking about the coronavirus and the pickups from other parts of the country, and it really has affected the theater-going experiences here. First up, the Broad Theater, and I'm so sad to report to you that the Broad Theater, after reopening for a period of time, has decided that they will now close again, and they plan to reopen in September, around September 1st. And the second surprise that came earlier this past week, the Chalmette movie. I had the chance to talk to Ellis Fortenberry, and he said that although he loves the idea and people were coming out, they weren't coming out in the numbers that they wanted for films that would be, I guess you would call for a repertory theater experience. So they have decided to close as of Thursday and will reopen in October. October 1st is their potential reopening date. It's all because the major producers like Universal, Disney, 20th Century Fox, they are not releasing films to the theaters anymore. They are going only to streaming availability. For example, the AMC theater chain, there was a big theater chain around the country, and of course they have the Clearview, Elmwood, and West Bank, and the one in Slidell. They have decided they were going to have a rolling open. It was supposed to be July 15th. Then it was pushed back to July 30th. Now it's scheduled for late August that the AMC are planning to open. Again, not good news there, but I will have some better news later.
Okay, thank you so much. And on to Alan. Anthony Bean is the Energizer Bunny, isn't he? He really he keeps on going, and I'm sure he's so talented, and these are challenging times to do things with theater, huh?
Well, actually, yeah, Peggy, and what's happening, he's working on an ambitious project. This is going to involve a lot of the young talent, the actors out there, but also some of the creative staff and talents. He's really soliciting someone, probably a lot more than just one person, to be the host of a show. Now, there is no pay, but this is a young reality show, TV talent show. It's going to run for 6 weeks. They're going to start actually filming in just a few weeks in mid-August. So you need to get those videos and those headshots in now to Anthony Bean Community Theater. The show staff and the featured guests will all be young adults, teenagers, etc. And the filming will be done, as I said, over a 6-week period. And they'll start to show these starting on September the 12th at 11:30 a.m. on WUPL. So that's fantastic.
We wish him well.
Now,
I know it's hard.
And the good news about this is that the teens who are involved are not only going to be able to talk about the issues that they face every day and talk about things like Black Lives Matter and drugs and sex, crime, things of those sorts, but they'll also be able to, whoever participates, be able to hopefully get a demo reel, whoever is chosen as the staff person that's going to be leading this as the host. So they get a little bit more than just the average participation. And hopefully they'll have a lot more to offer there. Also, by the way, the Jewish Federation CEO, Arnie Fielko, who we all remember as a former city councilman, he's got the Jewish Federation on one of those shows talking about Black Jewish matters and talking about how they're going to get together. Also, Peggy, I wanted to remind everybody about a wonderful event coming up. It's actually launching tonight, but you can see it on demand anytime you want. And this is The Kindness of Strangers. These are 4 and 5 minute clips of different celebrities from across the country and also local actors who are all supporting the Tennessee Williams New Orleans Literary Festival. And Peggy, I know you as the president, have been very active with this.
Well, we're so proud. It's 40
anxious.
minutes long. It's 40 minutes long, and it really is quite a taste of so many wonderful actors, national and local actors who are participating. And actually, it's all for the benefit of Tennessee Williams, and you give what you can, but it's free. You can watch it, and it'll be on for the next 2 weeks. But we have a clip, Alan. So I guess we'll roll that clip. But it is amazing. Kathleen Turner and Wendell Pierce and John Goodman. Let's take a look.
Actually, the only time I met Tennessee Williams was when I had just come to New York in '77. Now, I was a baby, fresh out of college, and I think he was nearing the end of his career. And somehow at this celebration for Tennessee and his work, I was assigned to watchdog him, to babysit him, to make sure he got there, make sure he got on the stage, etc. Well, he arrived completely drunk, which was not so unusual. But for some reason, he insisted on coming up through the orchestra pit to the stage.
In American culture, we've forgotten the importance of art. It's the forum where we reflect on who we are, our triumphs, our failures, who we hope to be, and where we've come from. It is there in that forum where we decide what our values are and then act on them. And it's there in that forum where Tennessee Williams thrived. He was a man of great vision, great confidence, and great skill, who tapped into the American psyche, into the American heart, and showed us a new way of humanity, and giving us the power to mark our passing on the road, just like you write it on a tree. We were here. And it's for that reason we should always remember Tennessee Williams and support this festival.
On December 28, 1938, Tom Williams wrote, "I am delighted, in fact enchanted with this glamorous, fabulous old town. I've been here about 3 hours, but have already wandered about the Vieux Carré and noticed many exciting possibilities. Here surely is the place I was made for, if any place, in this funny old world."
And Alan, of course, we have to mention who the host of that program is.
Our very own Bryan Batt will be hosting this, so I hope everybody will look. It's gone for 2 more weeks, so check it out, TennesseeWilliams.net.
All right, thank you so much. And back to Poppy for a taste of St. Tammany. They're keeping busy, too.
Well, deals on the North Shore and the South Shore. So the annual Tammany Taste of Summer is kicking off August 1st. It's running through September 30th. And what it brings are discounted prefix menus from wonderful places like Restaurant Cote in Slidell. There's 4-course dinner at Dakota for just $45. And of course, that includes that crab and brie soup. All of Pat Gallagher's restaurants are participating, Oxlot 9, and there's so much more involved than just menus. There are discounted family meals. There's deals where you buy one and get one free for appetizers and meals. There's hotel and activity discounts on the North Shore, too. So you can take a whole little mini vacation up there. And to check the whole thing out, just go to tammanytaste.com and get your Tammany Taste of Summer pass.
All right, thank you. Back over to Ian. And Ian, good news from a restaurant in Kenner these days, huh?
Yeah, you know, bright spots have been pretty hard to find in the New Orleans restaurant world, but this one has persistently been one these days. This is Gendusa's Italian Market in Kenner. Now, this restaurant went up in flames, burned to the ground July 16th, just 6 weeks ago. Well, 2 days later, Troy Gendusa, the proprietor there, was cooking again, thanks to a lot of help from people around the industry who set up an outdoor restaurant for him on the parking lot right across the street. This was a great story all on its own, and Troy pledged to rebuild. He was going to get his restaurant back up and running again and roll out the things like his meatballs, his lasagna, his pizzas, his veal parm, all the things that have made Gendusa's a real go-to in quick order there in Kenner. Well, that was going to take months, and that means going to mean months of maybe cooking outside in that parking lot. He was in for it, but as fate would have it, one of his neighbors right down the street on Williams Boulevard in Kenner's Rivertown said, you know, I don't think our restaurant's going to come back, and I think you got a really good shot, so why don't you take over? So Troy bought the former location of Fleur de Lily. It was a bakery and cafe right there, literally 2 doors down from his old restaurant, and he has reopened it this week. It's much bigger than the old spot. It has a lot more different rooms, different dining areas inside and outside, and the same menu that put Gendusa's on the map. So Troy is cooking over there. He's really happy. You walk inside, you're going to see a case full of Italian cookies and cannoli, gelato case, and just, you know, a good, bright future lined up for this guy after the travails that he's gone through. So nice, good news story in Kenner.
Thank you so much. And over to Alfred. And Alfred, yes, some of the, a little bit of bright news that was still around in terms of local theater and movie theaters.
Yes, there is some good news, even on this dark side. Yes, of course. Remember, always wear your masks, everyone. The couple of good things that are actually happening. Welcome back to the Zeitgeist Theater. Now, the Zeitgeist Theater was at one time on the Ressa Castle Haley. It has moved just across the Orleans-St. Bernard line. It is on St. Claude Avenue. Still, that's where it's called, St. Claude Avenue in Araby. And they are going to be featuring several different films, repertory films, but one film in particular is quite fitting for this time. They're showing John Lewis' Good Trouble, a documentary about the recently departed civil rights icon John Lewis and his struggles in life and in Congress, and how it has affected everyone. Really good opportunity to go see it there. And our good friends at the Britannia Theater, they are still chugging along, still the only single screen theater in the state of Louisiana that are operating. And they're going to be showing some repertory features. For example, Beetlejuice, say it 3 times. You can see it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. John Lewis' Good Trouble at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And if you want to start a redo of the Lord of the Rings sequences, well, you can watch The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the King at 7 o'clock in the evening all week, so you get a chance to be in the theater, and of course, social distancing and wear your mask.
All right, thank you. Back over to Alan. And Alan, you are actually providing quite the, if you will, virtual venue for one of John Bigonet's highly lauded plays.
It actually turned out to be the biggest theater event of the week. We had approximately 300 people that I know of, and probably several hundred more people watching it through Facebook, et cetera. So that was John Bigonet's Shotgun, the second part of his trilogy, an all-star cast starring Lance Nichols and Kenneth Brown, who reprised their roles as Dexter Gotcha and Willie Williams. And also in the cast were Mike Harkins and Sarah Nansubuga, who played Dex's daughter, who owns the shotgun that Mike's character, Bo Harlan, comes to live in temporarily. And also Andrew King played Eugene, that's Bo's son. It was a fantastic cast. And again, people who actually saw it loved all of the performances, including, of course, Gregory Johnson, who was the director. And John Bigonet was so thrilled. Again, coming up next month will be the final part of that trilogy, Mold. And I am hoping that Carol Sutton, the marvelous actress that we so love here in New Orleans, will reprise her role in that. We're looking also possibly to see if maybe Carrie Cahill will, but that cast is yet to be announced, but I know that Carol is very interested. Meanwhile, another Katrina-inspired play that's called Katrina's Path, also known as Katrina's Voices, and later on became Katrina, the Mother of Them All, written by Rob Florence. This is going to come back on August the 17th, and this will all be again on the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group and the theatercriticism.com Facebook page and my own YouTube channel. Again, one of the things I wanted to mention is that with that Katrina's Path will be one of the monologues is going to be done by none other than my own cousin, Sidney Smith, who owns Haunted History Tours, the tour company. He's going to tell the tale of how he left town after Katrina with a loaded gun and a bag full of cash. I can't wait for that.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Also, Lisa D'Amour's Nita and Zita is going to be a multimedia event on August the 24th. And let's not forget, if you want to check out some wonderful shows, and I know, Peggy, you've been enjoying these, Seth Rudetsky's concert series, which I'll talk a little bit later in my picks, the Tony Award nominee Liz Calloway, the Tony Award winner Stephanie J. Block, and the Tony, Grammy, and Emmy Award winner Rachel Bay Jones have all been announced for the forthcoming weeks.
All right, thank you so much. And whether it's drawing, painting, or sculpting, nationally known New Orleans artist Willie Birch has had his eyes on neighborhoods and local culture for almost 50 years. Here's an excerpt from a profile by San Diego-based gallery owner Ruth Ann-Thorn from her series spotlighting artists around the country.
They put me in an art class, a woman named Maxine Holter Daniels. The first African-American art teacher in the history of the public school system of New Orleans. And 9 of us took art classes there. Twice a week took formal classes. And by the time I got to high school, I understood how to do portraits, do landscapes, one point, all this stuff. So none of this stuff I'm using today.
So you got all that training from her.
Right. Papier mache is something that we do here. Mardi Gras Indian floats. It's all out of paper. Paper was something that people saw as having no worth. So part of my challenge was to force the art world to see these things as precious, to see it wasn't the paper, it was the actual, what I did with it that brought it to another level of understanding. So what happened is the Metropolitan Museum came and they bought, I believe it was 6 pieces. They were all papier mache, whether it was relief sculptures or relief paintings, but it's always narrative.
That's
and
amazing.
Then I got a full page in the New York Times and things went crazy.
You have done some pretty amazing, I mean, you know, as far as the notoriety and the accolades that you've received. It's really an impressive resume, I'd say.
No, I'm in that major book of 20th century art with Picasso, Matisse. You name him, there is Willie Birch sitting in there, you know, and you go, whoa!
You can see the entire 12-minute segment by going to artofthecitytv.com. Click on episodes. Also, to see more of Birch's art, go to williebirch.com. And now it is time for our Picks of the Week. Poppy.
Never thought we were going to see a dine out event again. Oshner Eat Fit is holding a dine out next Friday, August 7th. All proceeds stay in the restaurant. This used to be a fundraising idea, but what they're hoping to do is that you will support the restaurants that have always supported them with their Eat Fit menus. Oshner released new info showing that takeout is one of the lowest risk activities you can participate in. So go do the Eat Fit, dine out, take out, just do it.
Yes, Ian.
Peggy, last week we had the news that Portical was reopening, one of our favorite burger spots. Well, unfortunately, that only lasted one day after city rules changed about takeout drinks. It scuttled their their business model. So they'll be back. But for now, I want to point out one of my other favorite burgers around town, which is at Pharmacy in Mid-City. That's on Bank Street, down at the end of Bank Street where it abuts the new hospitals. The burger is fantastic here. They're open for dine-in and takeout. It's a nice little bar in there, too. Sort of like a modern diner feel, but just a fantastic first-rate hamburger you should know about.
Yes, I'm a big fan, too. I couldn't recommend it more. You're so right, Ian. Yep. And Alfred.
Well, Hollywood is mourning the passing of a true legend. Olivia de Havilland passed away this past week at the age of 104 years old, almost as old as my grandmother, who made it to 107. But if you want to watch some of what made Olivia de Havilland such a gem, you can watch on Fandango Now, Vudu, or Amazon Prime, one of my favorites, Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte. Not only does it feature Olivia de Havilland, it's set in Louisiana, and also stars Betty Davis and Joseph Cotton. You can't get much better than that.
You can't. Okay, Alan.
And it was filmed at Homeless House, if I'm not mistaken.
That is right.
That's right.
I want to remind everybody, we've got some great things happening with Carnival, but we had a sad announcement today. The announcement that came from the co-captains of the Crew of Stars, Carl Mack and Marshall Harris, that they were going to be postponing their 2021 event until 2022. So that's the first casualty that I know of it as far as a Mardi Gras ball and event.
The Crew of Stars.
That's the Crew of Stars.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh.
And again, those of you who are following the Seth Rudetsky concerts that we talked about earlier, Cheyenne Jackson will be his guest this Sunday. And again, if you've never heard Cheyenne, a beautiful, silky, creamy voice and a great figure to look at as well. So those of you who are ladies, I'm sure you're going to love this show, Cheyenne Jackson.
Okay, and sorry to hear about
Peggy.
Yeah, and sorry to hear about the Crew of Stars. And now my picks tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday on Facebook Live. You'll be able to view local jazz performances and Satchmo-related history panels. Go to satchmosummerfest.org to see the full schedule. And while the usual White Linen Night won't be taking place this year, during August there will be White Linen Light, encouraging art lovers to visit galleries from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturdays in August. Go to artsdistrictneworleans.com for more details. Also, check out Lemieux Gallery's new group show. Thank you all so much, and goodbye.
This program is sponsored in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support the arts and culture in the greater New Orleans area. Support for Steppin Out comes in part from the Kristovich family in honor of Mary Lou and Bill Kristovich.